My 21 female BF, 22 male, discovered my family is secretly rich. Too long did not read. Boyfriend of 3 years recently discovered that my parents are millionaires, after he told his mom she won't stop asking if my parents will buy us expensive gifts. Starting to question BF's motives for our relationship. BF and I have been together for 3 years and living together for 1. We spent last Christmas with my family and my boyfriend and dad ended up talking about stocks. My dad told him about a few different companies that worked out for him, giving my boyfriend advice of what he should invest in and showing him parts of his portfolio. Later that day, boyfriend questioned me about my family's finances and eventually put together that my parents have a net worth somewhere north of $10 million. Because my family isn't very flashy and lives more than well within our means, my boyfriend had no clue my parents had this much money until now. He was a little annoyed that I hadn't said anything about it, but I never thought it was relevant because aside from a $1,000 a month allowance so that I don't have to work while in college, which is only for another month anyways, I don't plan on getting any money from my parents. A few weeks later I overheard my boyfriend joking about me having rich parents while on the phone with his mom. I immediately told him off and asked that he doesn't tell people about my family's financial situation so prevent people from having certain expectations from my parents. Unfortunately, the cat is already out of the bag with his parents. This brings us to today, where BF's mom, Mill, is currently visiting us. She has only been here 1 day and is already making non-stop quips about my parents' money. While we were talking about moving to a new city, she asked if my rich dad was buying an apartment for us or if he would pay for various things. When she asked about how my mom was doing, she even asked why she was still working if we didn't need the money. All of this talk about my family's money is making me incredibly uncomfortable. I've tried to tell her that I have zero expectations of them paying for anything, but the comments just won't stop. Isn't it common courtesy to not talk about other people's money like this? I love my boyfriend and want to spend the rest of my life with him, but I'm starting to worry that he is with me for the wrong reasons. You've been with him for 3 years and have been happy. Lay the line down explicitly with his mom and reiterate to him that you're done talking about it. Then drop it all. To most people, 10 million is a lot of money and you should be able to accept his curiosity. You should also forgive him his feelings about the omission. Annoyance at not being told could be understandable since it's a bit of a big secret, but it's reasonable why you wouldn't tell him. He liked you before the money. Some people's ignorance about class and money and what counts or doesn't count as support is truly astounding. You need to stop being selfish and facilitate his upward social mobility. You're not taking all that money to the afterlife. I know Reddit is very jump the gun when splitting up, but this might be a case where it's needed. If since finding out he and his mom are constantly asking, then you have a problem. It is a big red flag and highly inappropriate as it clearly isn't your money. However, it may become a waiting game for him when you inherit it. Ask him if his mother would ever contribute money to you and I'd bet the response would be, well, she's not rich like your family, or some other excuse as to why she can't. Then ask why is it fair only your family have to pay, and I guarantee he will show his true colors. If you're embarrassed to be rich, give away a bunch of money. There will be future conflicts between you and your BF's family over your parents' wealth. You'd better marry someone with a similar financial background as yours, instead of your current BF. You're 21, you don't need to stay with your college boyfriend and gain a crazy mill. Take a step back from the relationship and flourish in your 20s. My surprise is that your BF's first reaction is to be annoyed at you for not telling. I feel the reaction is quite telling that money is indeed a factor to him. My partner never knew my family was well-to-do until he found out about us owning more than one property, and even then he never mentioned either of us taking money from our own parents to buy our own property. All he told he was that we should work harder. Maybe consider this reaction and think about your own BFs. I wish my family was rich. Being poor is hard AF. Still trying to reach that first million. They say that's the hardest one. One day, I would have an honest conversation with your BF's mom and tell her how her comments make you feel. For poor people, wealth is novel, and I would compare it to finding out that your parents are famous actors she likes. There are gonna be some annoying questions at first. If she still persists and this behavior is long-term, then I would re-evaluate. It's okay to set boundaries with people. Yeah, your BF's mom needs to 100% never talk about this again. It's none of her business, it's only barely 0.001% your BF's business, and she needs to learn some manners. Your boyfriend probably didn't think much about it when he joked with his mom, but in hindsight it was the wrong thing to do and he will have to respect your desire to keep it quiet. Your boyfriend mom whack as fuck. I wouldn't let me boyfriend spend a lot of time on my parents' property after that in case he did something stupid to get hurt or tripped and sued my parents over something like that to get his own gains. Be careful, but if he loved you before I wouldn't be too worried. He probably just needs time. All this talk is making you feel uncomfortable because you've grown up horrifically sheltered and completely ignorant to what actual life is for 99.7% of people on this planet. Your boyfriend's mom is being inappropriate, but you've got a whole lot of learning and humbling to do. You're spoiled, and it's not a good look. Net worth of 10 million isn't enough to splurge on gifts and whatnot. People don't understand that, so they think you can just give handouts like nothing. It's not common. In a relationship, man who looks at his woman for source of money should be avoided as much as possible. If it's other way round, it's normal. He's definitely with you for the wrong reason. Better to break it off now. Otherwise he and his family will be constantly wanting your family to pay. Plus once you get married, what if he just quits and says you pay since you have family money? His intentions don't seem good. His family has a very unhealthy attitude about money. Most wealthy people I know are not flashy. Let him know your parents' money is not your money. Their money is none of his damned business. Tell your boyfriend if he doesn't quickly grow up about money you are going to dump him. Dump your BF, his mother sounds like a gold digger too. Also, who knows if he's already told other people about your family's finances. He had no problem telling his parents, he could have already told his friends as well. You should worry when someone finds out your family has something valuable and talks about getting some of it. Sounds like your mill is money hungry. It's not even your money too, it's your parents' lol. Tell your boyfriend how you feel, he should be taking your side on this and not joking around about your rich parents. Hopefully he's supportive and understanding. If not, you may be right about him being with you for the wrong reasons. I would consider ending things. You're so young and spending your best years with someone who is going to blab to people about your family having money and risk being tied to pile who done this kind of joking, appropriate, seems very start a relationship to me. Tell him how you feel and tell him he needs to draw a boundary on her comments. If he can't or won't, you know this guy don't really have your back. Tell your boyfriend that his mother's comments are making you uncomfortable, and that you need him to talk to her about not making such comments, and that if she does make them when he is around, you expect him to speak up about how it's not appropriate. See if he is willing to agree to that. Also make it clear to him that you are not rich, and you have no intention of having your parents make either of you rich. My parents have a similar net worth and aren't flashy either. If someone says something about their house or other properties they own, my parents joke, "Oh, the bank owns it," to downplay their financial standing. Fortunately I haven't been in a situation like yours, but I would definitely be upset if it happened. You're doing a good job with what you're doing. You need to be firm and say that it isn't your money and your family expects you to fully support yourself. Any comments that make you uncomfortable, call them out as such. Tell the mill you are not comfortable her comments. If it continues from your boyfriend, consider ending it. In my experience most people do not behave like this, no matter how much money they have. Wasn't sure if this was relevant enough to add to the post, so wanted to say it here. Another reason why my parents are secretive is because my dad's brother has scammed multiple family members in the past because he thought they were rich, to the point where it even resulted in one of them losing their home. Why my dad hasn't cut him off is beyond me. Because of this my parents have taught me to be very cautious about talking to others about money, which is why I didn't tell my boyfriend earlier and didn't like that he told his parents. You should make it clear that no, your parents' money is their money. They won't be bankrolling a fancy lifestyle for you and your BF. Heck, they might even leave their assets to a stray cat's home. That's their choice, and their business, not your prospective MIL's. Not saying it's right, but what's the BF's financial situation? The mom might just be jealous or hopeful her son will no longer have to struggle. It might be a desperation. Either way, once you've established a boundary, they need to respect it. Trust matters in a relationship the most, with communication close second. I'm starting to worry that he is with me for the wrong reasons. You have been together for 3 years. You have no reason to believe he is with you for your parents' money. Don't let certain comments here sway that opinion. So far it only sounds like your boyfriend's mother is a problem, and I'll be honest. My mother would probably ask the same dumb questions his mom did if she knew a girl's parents I was dating were rich. You might be looking into this a bit much. I feel I could see myself doing the same thing and mentioning it to my mom, but I can guarantee you I'm not motivated by someone else's money when it comes to relationships. Not many people experience such wealth. They probably find it exciting and don't know how to handle it. They probably have these grand ideas on how their lives are going to change. Just talk with him, let him know it's your parents' money, so don't get carried away. As a person in a similar situation, I made it very clear to partners or friends that my family do not support me. I say it once and only once, but in all fairness, I've never had to say it twice. It would really rub me the wrong way if someone tried to insinuate otherwise or asked me for expensive gifts because of my family. I would be honest and tell him to knock it off. If he doesn't stop, I would no longer want to be with this person. Hang on, aren't you treating him differently too? Secretly rich means you kept it from him and now you feel like he's being inappropriate after you haven't talked about it with him. It sounds like you expected this behavior. That you kept it a secret because of those expectations, and now your prophecy has come true. To be honest, both questions she had strike me more like curiosity over how rich people live and interest in how you live. They don't necessarily mean gold digging. Sounds like that for them, money a conversational topic. The rest of them, tell her or boyfriend that you find them uncomfortable. And more importantly, stop responding to them. Basically, the goal is to set boundary and make asking questions useless. It is super fair boundary to make. And establishing that you have boundaries and won't budge on them is good anyway. Your parents aren't flashy about their wealth, but your dad decided to show his 21-year-old daughter's boyfriend his 7-8-figure stock portfolio. Weird. It's more inappropriate that you would keep your wealth a secret. That's the red flag. Isn't it common courtesy to not talk about other people's money like this? Only if you're rich. If you don't have a ton of money, it is a life or death situation, and taking life or death situations and opportunities as if they are life or death is basic survival. Honey, your boyfriend was with you for 3 years before he knew this. There's no evidence in anything you say to suggest he's in it for the wrong reasons. Focus on the actual issue you presented, which is his mother's nosiness and inappropriate inquiries. You need to make it clear with your boyfriend, if you haven't already, how uncomfortable it is, what your expectations are of your parents' money, and that part of his responsibility to you is to handle his own mother. You can and should stand up for yourself to her if it gets bad enough, but he should be out in front shielding you from her questions and comments. This post reads as you bragging that you're rich while somehow also not understand that you're rich and your parents are generously supporting you right now. It sounds to me like your BF's biggest mistake was telling his mom. It sounds like his mom is the one making you feel uncomfortable, not him. I would just tell your boyfriend to ask his mom to stop talking about it and for his parents to keep it to themselves. Location flag. I'll be really curious if your boyfriend will treat you any different now knowing this. Suddenly start talking about marriage and stuff. Keep an eye out for any suspicious behavior. Tell your boyfriend that your parents' finances are none of his family's business and that he needs to shut that shit down with his mom. Why does she feel entitled to your parents' money just because you're dating her son? That's really, really strange. This kind of information, although not explicitly, can groundbreakingly alter and shift the self-perception of your partner. In Western societies, money is not only a means of wealth, it also transports status and self-worth. Believe me, it was a truly hard pill for him to swallow, even though no one would openly admit it. Self-worth and status are sensitive topics. The rest was already said before. So get off your high horse, try to take the perspective of your partner and talk things out. That is not an appropriate reaction to learning of your family's financial means. This is a really, really big red flag for the future. I love my boyfriend and want to spend the rest of my life with him, but I'm starting to worry that he is with me for the wrong reasons. I feel like this might be more your insecurity rather than reality. I mean, he ought to have known that you were well off. Now he just knows how well off you really are. He is with you because of you, not 10 million in your father's investment account that he didn't know about for 3 years of your relationship. Be blunt with your boyfriend and his gold-digging mother. My parents' finances are none of your business and I'm ashamed of you for assuming you're entitled to anything. You are not.